Welcome to Blueprint Boost for Contractors, the podcast that's your go-to source for unlocking the secrets to successful marketing, gaining valuable insights, and growing your contracting business with less stress. Your host is David Brooks, and he's thrilled to be your guide on this journey. As a seasoned expert in the contracting industry, David understands the challenges you face. That's why each episode is crafted to provide you with actionable strategies and proven blueprints to boost your business to new heights.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the podcast. I'm your host, David Brooks, powered by Contractor Rhino. For this episode, we do have another guest with us, and I'll allow him to introduce himself.
Thank you so much for letting us come out. So I'm Chuck Thokey. I am the owner of Top Rep, High Performance Sales Training. We do sales training for both sales reps and sales leaders all over the country.
All right, Chuck, nice to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Could you tell us a little bit about how you started, the story behind starting Top Rep?
Yeah, so I've been in sales for about 20 years. And before that, I was an aerospace engineer, coming out of that, and it was more the whole 9/11 thing that kind of threw me into sales. And when I found out that I can make 3 times as much as a rocket scientist, as you would call them, I never went back, and so since then, I went from selling insurance, life and health insurance. I was #2 in the country for Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and I hated every bit of it. And so I left that, got into mortgage, loved mortgage, but then the bubble was about to burst, and I got a phone call that a company out of Canada was wanting to come into the United States. It was called Bath Magic at the time, and today it's called Bath Fitter. And so Bath Fitter is by far the largest bath organization in the world. So I left there and went to a company called Able and Mr. Roof, which is, they were very large then, and now they are the largest when it comes to residential roofing. So when I left, they were about 220 million. So, and when I left there, I decided I just didn't want to go and be, another executive somewhere, and decided I wanted to get into, instead of building just one company at a time, I'm like, man, I could build a lot of companies all at once. And so now I've had my hands in some of the largest organizations in the country. That's really how we came to be. I mean, it's Top Rep itself was a brainchild of mine and a guy by the name of Jim Johnson. And it started out as an event. Before then, I was Business Success Advisors, and Jim Johnson was Contractor Coach Pro. And I said, hey, I keep getting asked to do an event, and I just don't want to do the same type of event as everybody else. It's nothing but a convention, and we don't need any more of them. Trust me, most of them aren't worth much anyway. So it's always a bunch of speakers that are trying to sell their stuff on stage. And so you usually come back with more value because of networking than you did the speakers. So we wanted more of a boot camp, something where you can come and you can learn from A to Z, and so that's what we made. And so we have the only, because there was a few at the time, and as of today, we're the only boot camp for home improvement sales nationwide. Boot camp, not training, but boot camp. So you can come and learn A to Z, everything that you're going to need to be successful inside of home improvement. And what came out of that is my closing roadmap. And I've been using the closing roadmap for probably 15 years now. And it's gotten to be quite famous across the industry because it makes closing easy. When a homeowner tells you that they need to think about it, their price is too high, it's very systematic, and there's no gimmicks in there. You're not going to boil it down to the ridiculous and try to get their what is it, their mortgage out of them, and try to do the Ben Franklin. All that stuff is all old news. Nobody does it anymore. Nobody successful anymore does it anymore. So it's very systematic.
Ooh, that's a good background and a good overview of stuff from the beginning and to kind of where you are now. And that's how I like how you said, like, when you go into an event and you hear speakers and you get to hear the speakers, but you do get the network too as well. But you do definitely want to take away value. I think that that's the key with anything when you're coming into an event or a showcase or anything. You want to be able to walk away with something that you can implement. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And when we say you can implement, from our standpoint, we actually will what we call dog fights, because it's top rep, top gun.
Yep.
So we do these things called dog fights. We do 6 of them throughout um, the boot camp. And so as we're teaching phase 1 through phase 6 of the sale, we're going to put you into and it's done very purposefully. You do not know or have worked with anybody that's in that group. And so nobody in there is part of your organization. So you don't have you and your buddy sitting next to each other. So you're going to pitch 5 other people 6 different times. But here's the magic of it. 5 other people are pitching you 6 times. So you're at like 40 times. You're getting just bombarded with all these pitches, and you get a chance to learn how these other companies are doing this. And so that's where the groundbreaking information, it doesn't always come from the training they get. A lot of it just comes from using it themselves and then having 5 other people come at them with the same thing.
No, that's a really interesting way to go about it. Yeah, I do see the value. And that alone, you should be able to take some jewels and nuggets away from, hey, what are they doing over here? Oh, I didn't think about framing it and wording it like that. Yeah, maybe I can make that small tweak tomorrow.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
that's good. So as you're, having the trainings and events, what are some I think key strategies for someone key things that someone coming to you should keep in mind when going about doing the training and making sure that they get the best value as possible.
When they're training their own teams, first of all, you have to have an agenda. Second of all, what we do these things called key competencies. So we have a whole list of all the things that a sales rep must know before. And for us, we even go as far as saying this is everything they must know before they ever get a company shirt. You need to deserve to be on the team. You need to deserve that company shirt. When they show up and you throw them 3 shirts, that should never ever happen. You have to work your way into this. We use this phrase, either you're a rec league, like you're the YMCA of home improvement, or you're a professional team, you're the Patriots or whatever favorite team you are. You can choose one. Which one would you like to choose? And they're like, oh man, I'm the Patriots. Like, no, you're not, because your team has no idea what they're doing. They look like bad news bears, jumping into the field. Everybody does something different. And when you send out the leads, everybody gets a lead. Not everybody in your team deserves a lead. I can guarantee you that. And some people are going to watch this and like, man, he's aggressive and he's well, you have to be, because this is a business. You got to treat it like a business.
Mhm.
There's a reason why Google, and most people don't know this anymore, Google got rid of all these pods and foosball tables, and you still have these really goofy companies out here like, we're running it like Google. Like, no, you're not, because Google found out that didn't work. But you're still trying to figure it out, how to have everybody have fun. We want everybody to have fun, but this is a job. It's a career. We work hard to get to where we are.
Mhm. No, I believe that so firmly. It's a job, it's a career. You have to work hard, and not everybody that shows up should be a team member.
No, they should earn their spot on the team.
Mhm.
It's when you get here, you're on the practice squad.
Yep.
you know, and when you deserve a spot on the team because you went through training, you went through your final exam and you did your practical, you passed, and now you get the opportunity to be on the team. Now you got to earn your spot in the field.
Yeah, you have to earn it. I think sometimes when things are just given out so easily and just like here, here's the keys to the kingdom. You go ahead and you drive and person's, oh, okay, I'm already set. I'm comfortable now.
That's right. And here's I'm gonna really make some folks mad that when we get a hold of some people's teams and they're like, so what do you think? And I'm like, well, we got a lot of work to do. You know, that because it's when people when organizations say, man, it's really hard to hire out there. It is easy to hire. But when you can't find good talent, that's your fault. That is your fault. We had a company out of Georgia, and unfortunately, the owner had passed, and he passed it on to his best friend, and everybody left because everybody was there because they loved the owner. And these were good people. I knew every one of them. They all either started their own companies, did whatever they wanted. But then he's like, "What am I going to do now?" I said, "Yeah, I suggest you hire." And he says, "Can you help me?" I was like, "Yeah." And we hired 20 people. We had hired 20 people that are still there today. They do amazingly well. They were trained right. They're held accountable right. I mean, we set them up for a great team. But what everybody else does is they think that they're going to hire rock stars and that they're just going to be rock stars. I'm like, yeah, right. Come on. You're going to hire potential rock stars and then you're going to go ahead and give them lazy boys is what you're going to do. And so how you hire them is how you hire culture. You hire culture. You don't bring culture in. Well, you do. You hire it in because the people that you bring in brings the culture with them. And then once you get your people in there, you onboard them, you train them, you test them, you make sure they know what they're doing, and then you bring them into the field, and then you watch what's going on, you monitor their numbers, and then you train them again, and then you test them again, you train them and then you test them, you keep that going. This is not like riding a bike. You know, when you're sitting in front of a homeowner and that homeowner is better at sales than you are, and they've never even been in sales, but you're the one that's coming back telling you the owner that you're too expensive. That homeowner won. They sold you. You didn't sell them. And so at that point, now that all this head trash keeps coming in, and you get to be just a nobody. You were when you came out of training, you were a beast, and very quickly the homeowners trained you because your sales manager is lazy. You allowed the homeowner to train you, and now you're just a sloppy human being that's trying sales out.
I think what you just said and unpacking that is continual training, right? Not just to set it and forget it and it's one time and hey, you're good to go and go out into the wild, right? And we don't have to do this ever again. It's no, let's retool, let's regroup, let's get that feedback, and let's constantly improve and not you should be educating the homeowner and steering the ship. You shouldn't allow them to be steering you and you're like, oh, okay. And and you left some money on the table off of something that they probably really needed, right? You could have made that recommendation, that solution, but did you go that extra mile to explain the value, the benefit? Did you say, hey, look, this maintenance package will make it really easier. We can come back around and we can pre-schedule it for now and it'll come out here and then you can set it and forget it. Well, that's great. That's good to me as a homeowner. Hey, look, if I know that these are you going to come out quarterly and I can prepay for now, I don't have to worry about that. I'm taking care of it. Thank you for making me aware of that.
That's right. That's right.
Now I know you've seen it all.
I've seen a lot.
Seen a lot. Well, what are some of the most common challenges that you have seen lately where people are coming in and are like, Chuck, this is our bottleneck. This is where we really need to just get uncorked.
Right now, it's the phone room. We are there's a huge problem inside of most people's, and sometimes it's one CSR that you might have just up front. Maybe it's just the owner's wife, whatever. And then there's others that have full phone rooms. And what we're finding is that we're having a problem with conversion ratios. Conversion ratio, what that means is you have raw leads, and I'm gonna start here because there's some people that are gonna watch this and they're like, yeah, we don't even enter our raw leads in. We don't enter the leads that come in. We just enter the appointments, which is really stupid, by the way. If you've paid for all these leads, if you get 100 or 200 leads this today or tomorrow, and you only enter the ones that you were able to book into appointments, that's just ignorant. So, but you have your raw leads, and then the number that book into appointment, that's your conversion ratio. So just so you know, the average conversion ratio is 75%. Now that's if you're buying leads, you got LSA, you've got social media going, you have your pay-per-click and your SEO, and you got whatever it is. You have all these different lead sources. You should have 6 at all times, by the way. You should never have less than 6 lead sources. But you can have more, but should never have less than 6. But you have these leads coming in, you should be converting at least 75%. Now, those of you that are buying lead aggregator leads, this is why it comes down, because if you're not buying lead aggregator leads, you should be at closer to 80%. But lead aggregator leads, you are going to book 25 to 30% of. Don't get upset with the lead aggregators because you can only book 25%, because that's, if you ask them, that's what they're going to high five themselves if you can book at 25%, and then you sell at 30% of those. The typical company will close at 30 to 35%. Your bigger organizations, they'll probably close right around 45 to 50%. So, but know what your numbers are. But that's the biggest bottleneck, is that of knowing what that conversion ratio is and knowing how to convert them. Now, once you get that to an appointment, now what is your conversion ratio to the appointment to issued appointment, or issued leads, as some people might say? So these are the appointments that actually get run. And then from there, what's the conversion ratio from issued lead to a sit? It's to somebody that is going to actually demo and give price. Every one of these numbers has somebody that's accountable to it, whether it's the marketing person that is either fishing in the wrong pond or hits a home run. And we now know that if we can't get our conversion ratio, either we're fishing in the wrong pond, we're ordering these leads from the wrong place, we can't get a hold of them, and half of them are inside of our rentals and are inside of trailer parks. But the other part of this is it your phone room? Maybe they suck. I'm sorry, they have bad days. These are humans, so they're gonna have a bad day, and they convert less. So where's that problem sit? Now, if it's from the appointment to issued lead, well, now we've got a bigger problem with the phone room. But from issued lead to a sit, it's between the phone room and the sales rep. Either the phone room booked an appointment that we can't sell, we can't even get into an appointment into a pitch, or the sales rep just sucks and he can't even get into a pitch. Sometimes you get there and they're like, well, they were eating dinner. That's your problem? Sit in the truck, let them finish dinner. We had a sales rep, and his name was Adam, and he says, man, this was such a fun appointment. I got there, and they were in the middle of eating Subway, and the guy, he sat down, he's like, man, Adam sat down with him, And he goes, man, that looks good. And the guy says, you want half? I'll go. And he just cut off half, sent it, gave it over to Adam. And Adam's sitting there eating lunch with him. And Adam's like, man, I was so full because I just ate lunch right before I got there. He says, but I wasn't gonna deny the guy. But again, we sometimes breaking bread is a good thing.
Mhm.
But again, how do you get into that appointment? How do you get into a pitch? And sometimes you just need to be a professional to get there.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm a firm believer in being a professional and, like you said, well, if they're eating dinner, hey, wait in the truck, like I'm sure they'll just say, hey, come on, give us 15, 20 minutes to finish up and we can, talk to you. And, or they might even, hey, invite you in for dinner and, offer you something to eat too as well. But yeah, I can see where the phones could be the source of the problem. And I totally agree where, people will get leads and uh they get them in and they put the ones that they, feel like, hey, they booked an appointment into the system, and the other ones sometimes they don't bother to do anything with them. And you see a long list of what's going on over here. And it's like, oh, there are these leads. And it's like, well, did you follow up? Well, how many times did you follow up? Did you send them a message? What did you do here? And you can reactivate those leads.
Absolutely. You know, we when people send us their information, we paid a lot of money for that information. And many times we'll pay an upwards of $200 for someone's name, address, and email address, and half of it's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, so we paid a lot of money, and trust me, I am going to wear that thing out as long as the law allows it.
Hmm.
If they give me their phone number, I am going to wear that phone number out. By the
Hmm.
end of the week, my CSR will have that phone number memorized.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
will call here in Ohio, we can call up to 12 months. And so, we will call all the way up to 12 months. And what we love is the stories from our CSRs, customer service reps, that will say, I've been calling this person for 6 months. I finally got a hold of them, and they actually thanked me for just keeping calling. I'm finally ready. They didn't want to pick up the phone and be rude and supposedly, and tell me they aren't ready to get an appointment yet. So they just let us keep calling, and I'm going to tell you, we are going to keep calling you.
No, that consistency is the key. It's just talking before earlier today, and just was mentioning how I am doing phone training and listening to a few calls of some clients, and I've say, hey, look, just keep following up, and what I uncovered while listening to a few of the conversations was, hey, look, we just didn't have the time to actually call you back or just schedule you out because we weren't going to be home, or we were away on vacation, or we had a family emergency. Like, thanks for keep following up, because it was on our mind to do, but we just couldn't get around to doing it, or we just needed a better reminder to say, okay, this is the date and time we're definitely going to carve out to do it. And then on the flip side of that, it's the communication, because everybody's busy and they have families. A lot of people have families. And so it's the communication that needs to go on with inside of the household. The husband may say, hey, look, I'm good for this date, but I have to run it past my wife, or my wife said, hey, I have to run it past my husband. So, constantly following up is definitely the key.
Yes. Yep.
So as you're, in being able to train uh sales and really help people overcome those hurdles, can you share some really good success stories that for feedback that you received recently this year?
Well, we get a number of companies that are really struggling. Some of them are just inches away from bankruptcy, or just, closing the doors. And we'll take a certain number of these, and so one that we took, it was out on the West Coast. And we, when we coach you organically. We want to make sure, we really want to dig into your business, because we're not just a trainer. We are a coach first. So we're going to really dig into your business, find out what's going on with your business, and find out what's really happening. And one of the things with them is that, like, they're a roofing company and they had W-2 roofers. And when I found out that they were paying them by the hour, I'm says, something tells me that you guys have never finished a roof in a day. And he goes, no, you can't do that. And I'm like, everybody does that. And I'm finding out more and more. And I says, hey, I want you to do something for me. I want you to book a plane ticket. I says, first, I'm going to hook you up with this company, the owner of this company. I'm not going to share there, but the owner of this company. And I want you to have a conversation. The second thing I need you to do is book a plane ticket. You're not just going to talk to them over the phone and try to get some advice. You need to fly out there, sit down with them, and watch their business. Because here's the beautiful thing is that this other business, and they were in PA, they were in their situation 5 years ago. And I said, so I need you to go and watch what they're doing, because he was in your situation. He went from where he was doing $800,000 a year, and he's doing well over, $6-7 million a year. He is the most profitable, and this is going to give it away with some people, but he is the most profitable roofer in the United States at a net 30%. Nobody has 30% net. Usually you're doing really good at 15. And so, so he flew out there and got schooled. You would think that I would be the one that would school him. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to hash out everything. I'm like, no, 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 no. That's not how this guy's going to learn, because he's just like John, And so I'm sending him over to John. I just wanted him to watch. And so he came back, and it was funny because it's John this and John said that, and John told me, and it is so funny, and it made John feel good too, that he was able to help somebody not go into bankruptcy, and they are now one of the most successful contractors or roofers in their area now. They're on the West Coast, they're in that Portland area. So it just warms your heart, man. And we see this a lot. We've had companies that started with us, and they started out at about 1 million, and they quickly grew to 30-40 million. Not only that, is that their gross margin is at 50-60%. And we're like, look, if you're going to grow, you're only going to grow one way, and that's profitable. If you're not going to grow profitable, if you're just going to grow so that you can go to these conferences and tell everybody how great you are, don't waste my time. So we have hundreds of contractors all across the United States. We have thousands of contractors that we've worked with, but hundreds that are very active with us. And we work with them on a day-to-day basis. We also have a platform that is state of the art. We weren't going to do it unless we could make it different from anything else you've ever seen before. The platform itself is laid out in such a way that you can use it for training. It's not like a lot of these platforms that you get into it and it's 200 hours of just absolute mess is what these things are. And if anybody were to say, we have 500 hours of video, cancel your subscription. It's trash. But if it's purposeful, if like when you get into our platform, and I have seen some others that are really well put together, and and it's funny because we share secrets back and forth, but when you get in, there's a sales champion course, and there's a way to go through it. There's no fluff in this thing. That's not, look at all of our podcasts for the last 3 years. Nobody wants to look at that. What for me, podcasts are for YouTubes and Reels. That's where podcasts sit. That and like Spotify and Apple, but it does not sit in your platform. It has no business being in your platform. And so have that so that that you want to put blinders on a sales rep. This is how you're going to go through this. And then we have a leadership track inside there. We have a masterclass inside there. You have 25 of my sales meetings. You can watch me give the sales meeting. When people look at their sales meeting, because 90% of sales meetings suck, and just ask their sales reps, they'll tell you. And so when you have a good sales meeting and you understand the agenda of a good sales meeting, the sales reps will talk about certain sales meetings for years. And so you can watch my sales meetings and how I give them inside that platform. But here's the thing that everybody comes into the platform for. We have an AI bot, and you can choose what bot you're going to go up against. Maybe you're going to go up against Robert, maybe Jenny or Nathan or Ava. You have all these different bots that you can go up against, and you can be on your phone in your car waiting for your next appointment, or maybe you're in a sales meeting. Say, hey guys, we're going to go up against the machine. Who wants to step up? Or you can do it at home, and you can go back and forth with the bot, and it talks to you just like a real person does. We made the thing, and we have no idea what it's going to come back as. When it comes in and it tells you, hey, you've done a really good job, giving me a lot to think about, and it's your turn. And how are you going to answer that? Hey, that's fantastic. That's why we give you 30 days. You'd be able to make a decision within 30 days, wouldn't you? So that AI bot measures your tone, measures how fast you talk, and also records you, and it monitors your facial expressions. I mean, it monitors everything and then gives you a score at the end, so that when you go into a house, and we have some really big companies that they run their sales reps, and you can watch your sales reps go through it. But they say, hey, they sit out in their car in a parking lot somewhere before their appointment, and then when they go in, they said, man, that homeowner is no match for these guys, because that AI bot put them through the paces, and they says the homeowner was nothing compared to that. So that's really, when we say that you're going to train your people and in how you're going to train them, that's a lot of what we do.
That's amazing. That's really unique and a very great value proposition to be able to have. And you're right, when you get, not everybody's training, but a lot, it's, you see the video, you see the hours, and it's like, oh, you kind of get to dread it, and you're like, is this really, is it value here? Is it,
Yeah,
you're looking like I'm in for a long one, and you want something where you can be able to just say, okay, I know I can apply this, right? And having that kind of AI bot and prepare you and prep you. So now when you're, like you say, you're coming against the homeowner, you're like, oh yeah, this is, I want to do the AI bot. So what do you have for me?
that's right. That's right. Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So another question, now that I come to think about the program and the state of what you're doing, do you have any events or things coming up, special initiatives?
So the easiest way to find any of the stuff that we're doing, where we're speaking at, is you can go to topreptraining.com. And so we have an event next week in Columbus, Ohio. We sold out. We sell out of these events very quickly. We only allow 300 contractors. We allow 300 contractors and their people in, and we sell out very quickly. And when you come out and you see the experience of this, you'll know why. We work very hard to get this experience where it's at right now. And I would even tell you that if you're anywhere near Columbus, let us know. We'll slide you in so you can take a look at it. The top 100 are going to be there. They've heard about it, and he says, man, year over year we keep hearing about how great this thing is. We got to see what this thing's all about. So they're going to be there. The executives of GAF are going to be there. We have a lot. Every one of these events, we have a lot of VIPs that come in and just audit the event. We have other trainers, and they say, hey, we want to kind of do something similar. We invite them in. Why keep them out of it? We want to give it to everybody that we can, to show them the experience. But that's next week. It's called the Top Rep Boot Camp. That one is right there is Top Rep Rush. So there's a purpose for every one of these events. We do two large events per year, one at the beginning of the year, so we get the teams going for the year, and then we do a rush. So inside of August, that's when you're either behind on your goal and you need to figure out what you're going to do, or you're ahead of your goal and we're just going to run the score up. So we show you how to do that in the event. But both of them, you get the experience of going through the entire sales process, from getting ready for the appointment the day before, going all the way through the closing roadmap, all the different objections. We go through detailed on how to go through these objections right there. And but again, I mean, we also have the platform. We do one-on-one coaching. We also, the one of our most popular services is what we call virtual sales management. So we have a sales manager, one of the best sales managers I've ever worked with, and he will manage your team if you have a small team. And most of them, because we have a lot of clients that go through this, and what we do is we use a company called Rilla Voice, and he can find out and listen. So he'll listen to 200 to 400 Rillas a week.
Mm.
And so it only takes him about 5 minutes per appointment to figure out everything that happened. You know, it's Rilla, because he uses it so often, he knows how to use Rilla. I would say he knows how to use Rilla better than Rilla. Um, it's probably not true, but we like to say that. But I mean, he knows it inside and out. So when he's sending the sales rep messages or when he's meeting with that team for the week, you know, he's going to cover what was done right. And here's some of the stuff that we really need to work on based on what happened in the field over the last 5 to 7 days. So we do a lot of different things for companies all over the United States and Canada. We have some in Mexico as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. If you're listening, make sure you go check out the website, look for an event, peek by, see what's going on inside underneath the curtain, and get those gems. That's really important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Chuck, any other parting words for the audience?
Man, just, you know, we want to thank you for having us on. If anybody wants to look us up, you can look us up at the www.topreptraining.com, or on Facebook. We have a free Facebook group, and you can join on, and we just give all kinds of free stuff. You know, we also have many different offers that are absolutely free. You know, I had a guy the other day, he's like, man, I could kill it if I just had, you know, your scripts. I'm like, what's your email address? You know, because for us, it's not the scripts that make you successful. It's how you learn the script, how you give the script, which is a lot of what we do at Top Rep. You know, we explain, you know, how to actually give that script. And when people ask us how we know how this is working out, it's because of companies like Rilla. I mean, we have well over 1.5 million recordings and all the data that goes along with it. And we changed a lot of what we do when we found out some of these data points. One of the things that we changed is, instead of when we give our presentation in the house, we don't put the presentation up front anymore. They forget about everything that you said. And once you're done with the presentation, they can't even remember what you said. So we'll put a little bit of a teaser of about the company up front, maybe talk about the owner and how long you've been in business, but the meat and potatoes of it need to be last, because that's what makes you different. Your products don't make you different. When you want to talk about all your warranties and your products, that don't make you different. And if that's the last thing you talk about, great. You're a can of green beans. You don't sound any different than anybody else. So we want to put the meat and potatoes of your company at the very tail end of that presentation, because right after that presentation, we're going to go through the trial close and right into our price presentation. And they're still thinking of all the things that make your company different. But that's just one of the things. You know, the other, and I'm going to share some of these, is top performing sales reps speak half as fast. They ask 5 times more questions. You know, we have data points on these. It's not just, we just know, no, we have data points on all of this, where we know that it's scientific fact that when, and one of the things I like to say when we start talking about how to close a deal is, if you talked in a bar the way that I want you to talk through your close, people would think something's wrong with you. You know, dude, they're going to pray over you because they think something's wrong with you. But inside your clothes, it sounds genius. So again, there's a lot that goes into what we do, how we teach, and because of our partners such as Rilla and Engage and a lot of these other companies, we now have scientific data, not just because we said so.
Oh, that's excellent. That's amazing. But Chuck, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and the words of wisdom have been many.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Everyone, thanks for listening. Make sure you go check out Chuck's website, Top Rep Sales Training. Make sure you give him a call if you need some training. And really, if you want to actually make it to an event too as well, peek behind that curtain and see how you can improve your company today.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone, make sure you tune into the next episode. Thanks so much for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Blueprint Boost for Contractors. We hope you found today's insights and strategies valuable for your contracting business. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and please leave us a review. Your feedback helps us bring content that truly matters.